You're tuned into the It's Real podcast with your hosts, Kayla, Kallander, and Andrew Yaggie. Each week, we'll talk about what happens behind the scenes working full-time in real estate and share with you real-life stories, our successes and failures as we work to help consumers and industry professionals reach their real estate and real-life goals. Here we go.
It's episode 117 of the It's Real podcast. I'm Kayla Kallander. I'm a mortgage lender.
I'm Andrew Yaggie, and I sell houses.
Yes, you do. And you open doors.
Kayla, I am not a door opener.
I know.
Actually, a little bit.
I like that we get a little bit more like smarty pants with each other as we progress on to this podcast.
There are a lot of agents that do just open doors and are tour guides, but that's not what we do, and that's really what I've been training my team, to not do, to actually sit down and help people figure out what their goals are.
That's the biggest piece that gets missed, the biggest piece of the puzzle. So congrats to you for training people the right way. If we all approached clients that way, this would be a much better industry with less stress.
Fair enough. I'm going to call a timeout though, because I feel like a minute and 24 into the podcast, it's getting a little bit too heavy and serious. I feel like it got to start out a little bit more lighthearted, perhaps. So,
let's do it.
What's new in your corner of the world?
Gosh, what's new? Nothing wild, I guess. Last week was a really busy but fun, crazy week of a lot of events going on. We had the Pause event, the Project Runway with Homeward Animal Shelter. We had that. So Theo walked in the runway. No, I have not posted photos yet, Andy.
I was going to say, I was scrolling and nothing.
You know what? I will show a photo on my phone just because. But we had that, and that was such a great event. Have you been to Brewhalla much?
Just for like a hatch event the last 2 years. It's a neat space.
It is. It's beautiful. So here's Theo walking the runway.
Very cool.
I know, right? So cute. So many dogs, so many people. It was very well attended and orchestrated. So that was new and fun. And then on Thursday is when I finally gave my talk for Disrupt HR, which, I'll be honest, it was a relief to have it done because it's just such a buildup and we've known for months. And it was a really well-attended event. It rained.
I want to know about the guy in the life preserver.
So the guy in the life preserver, he just used it as a prop as part of his speech. So I heard it covered his microphone though, so he had to take it off. So yeah, there were 11 speakers this year. You get 5 minutes only, Andy, which sounds easy. However, you have 20 slides and they're automatically advancing every 15 seconds. So you can't slow down or speed up. Otherwise, you've got kind of like dead space or you're rushing. So I went through mine without any issues. It was a thrill. And afterwards, I had a lot of people tell me that the talk impacted them or they could relate. And that's what we want. So it was a lot of fun. So, but that was last week. And then Lakes area, we went to the lake this weekend. It was beautiful. You can already tell people have stuff going on back to school. It got a little quieter. So yeah, it's good though. But what's new with you?
What is new with me? I don't, not a whole lot. Just kind of, the dog days of summer, just trying to make the most of the last weeks before the kids go back to school. Always a little bit bittersweet and just how quickly summer flies by. But on the other hand, it's nice to get back into some sort of routine just for everybody. So I always look forward to the fall. I love the fall. Love going out to do a little bit of farming as well. But otherwise, we spent a little time at the lake. I actually was doing some flying on Saturday and so out to New York, Nantucket, and back to and so usually don't make it further than the airport there, which is fine. But no, it was good and just had kind of some nice family time running around downtown Fergus Falls a little bit. And I look, we have a lot of really great things going on here. There are a lot of people that are maybe a little bit negative sometimes about like the community and everything else. But I mean, we have really a lot of really great amenities in town. And in fact, I'll have to show this to you. We were running around downtown a little bit, and there's an artist in town. He does chalk artwork and
Chalk artwork, like the ones that look like you're falling into a well or something, or downstairs.
I mean, he can do some of that, but he goes and he chalks all over the place and just like various characters and things. So okay, here I've got it. So he's got like 55 of these of 55 Waldos around town.
Oh, you're kidding. Wow, that's actually really good.
Yeah, and in all different places, shapes and sizes, from under bridges to on like a little connection to like a fire hose hookup on a building. And so my wife made a little Where's Waldo like checklist and numbered it, and the girls were running around and seeing, okay, where are we finding Waldo because they're numbered. And so we ran around downtown, and I think we found 4 or 5 of them, had some ice cream, and just
Fun.
a little bit different. So yeah.
Keeps the kids busy and entertained. That's really cool. Is it a local chalk artist or?
Yes. Yep. It's someone
Wow.
local to Falls, and paint like even on trees, tree trunks or like a stump somewhere, he'll do something. And so really just kind of neat.
That is awesome. And when do the girls start school?
When do
September.
we start? Like September 1st, Tuesday, September 1st.
Wow. I had someone, one of my colleagues, their 5-year-old starts kindergarten tomorrow. So I'm like, that's South Dakota though. But yeah, it's summer flies. We always say it.
It does. It does. It does. Not for you guys. You'll still be spending a lot of time out at the lake.
We will. And it's just funny. I was talking to Taryn yesterday, and I've just become more of this cold weather person. I hate to even say that out loud, but just as you get older, maybe, I mean, I love the warmth, but I just love the quiet. So I welcome it.
Well, don't dig the pumpkin spice and the sweatshirts out quite yet, Kayla. I think we've got some nicer days ahead, but I'm with you. I love the cool weather.
Yeah, the seasons. That's why we live here, right?
For sure. What else? What else is going on? Any fun or not fun or unusual things going on in mortgage?
Always, Andrew Yaggie, always. Gosh, yeah, I hope that when I come on here, I don't seem like I'm like shocked every time, but I just, I don't mean to giggle, but there are people in this world that just trust you. You've proven yourself, and there's others, and I don't blame people that just have this like, I don't know. And I recently had someone send me interest rates and all these options from, by the way, can you see my milk phone?
Box of milk bones back there.
Long story. It goes to Homeward Animal Shelter, and it's been sitting here, but when you move the camera, I can see it. So anyway, yes, that goes to Homeward. But no, what I was saying was somebody had sent me rate options. Now they're already in contract. We've ordered the appraisal. We close soon. They just started shopping today, and they sent me rates, and they said, hey, hopefully this helps when we go to lock, that the competitor rates will help you give us a better rate, which I totally understand. People wanting to make sure before they lock, you do a little comparison. Although I do recommend doing that before you get into contract. But the rates were actually worse. They didn't know it. So the reason why they got confused, even though I've explained, is this other lender quoted a much lower rate, but was charging thousands in fees. So when I said, okay, if you want to pay that much in for your rate, let's look on the price grid, the rate grid. And sure enough, we were a quarter better. And so, the more people don't buy houses or build houses or sell houses every day. But I think it's just a reminder of the reasons why we are so thorough with our people and show options, is because it's so important to know there's just not one thing that you can do with your rate. So just a lot of educating people. And I just truly think a lot of individuals are going to chat. They're going to Claude. They're going to Dad. Rightfully so, because I think with some lenders and realtors, you probably should. But it's just interesting to see kind of every day it's something new. So.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, it always is. I think anytime you're in a people business, I mean, it's just going to be par for the course. last week was a more challenging week in our office for a number of reasons.
Oh,
This week's starting off pretty solid. Just fires
oh,
you're having to
yeah.
deal with, transactions and everything. And again, there's a lot of emotion, a lot of frustrations, we often talk about right now. Just because there are some homes that aren't selling, some things that are sitting out there longer, and the market isn't responding maybe as favorably as it did
Yeah.
even a year ago in some cases. And so it's just always, trying to, remain the expert, the voice of reason, and help people get to their goals.
What do you feel, or what are you seeing, witnessing is the most common challenge? Maybe it's something different every time, but what's a common challenge you're witnessing?
I would say a common challenge on the sales side, Kayla, is keeping sellers grounded and helping them make sense of the market.
Mm,
Again, people are just still so stuck on where rates used to be and
mhm.
what wildly outrageous prices people were getting for their homes. And that isn't necessarily always the case right now, unless it's highly desirable and or priced right. So I think that's really a challenge on the buy side. Um, I think the most challenging thing is, just trying to encourage buyers and encourage them that, hey, of course, you have to make your own decisions based on, the big picture, but now may very well be a great time to buy, even if it doesn't feel like it, even if we're looking at, hey, rates, national average closer to 6.75. That's a temporary piece. And even, we talk about it in our house as we're potentially going to embark on a new build here at some point. Just looking at it and you talk about advice, whether it's from, friends or well-meaning relatives or a parent, everybody has an opinion, but just always remember that not all advice is good advice. And some people are
Mhm.
to be helpful, but ultimately you've got to make the best decision for yourself.
I saw a reel yesterday. Someone had put up about you won't be talking about the interest rate when you are spending your holidays hosting, or think it was just something related to that. And that's the truth. And I just pulled up a 30-year fixed over the last 4 years, just to kind of see like where were we at 4 years ago? Because you said it, Andy, it's like people are waiting. And to let you know, today the national average is around 6.74%. So 6.75, like you said. 4 years ago, we were at 7.29. So when you think about that, I mean, that's 4 years of equity. That's 4 years of appreciation. That's 4 years of memories, a fenced in yard, a larger kitchen, a safer neighborhood. And so I share that because I truly think that there were a lot of individuals who are like, it's going to go back to 2020 rates. Although I appreciate the optimism, the truth is we're still here. What are the next 4 years going to look like? Are you going to continue to wait? And I've actually talked to a lot of people in their 40s lately, and they're like, oh my gosh, I should have bought, then, or in their late 30s. The average age of a first time home buyer is 40 years old. And I truly believe that a large portion of it is because of the waiting game of just hoping rates will come down.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
Ultimately, inaction or not taking action is making a decision. And,
Hmm.
some people that might be fine, but even, I've gone back and forth and, crunch numbers and crunch numbers. And okay, yep, there are in some ways, it doesn't make sense to do anything. But again, you talk
Right.
about what are you gaining? What's your vision for you, your life, your family, having the experiences, because, yep, could it be great to save that extra money? Maybe, but you're not going to take it with you.
Right.
And
Amen.
it's going to bring you a lot of joy, especially, in like I look at my family in our more formative years with, younger kids and just kind of looking at that experience. And I'm like, yeah, I think it is something that we want to do, but
Hmm. You have to like make sense of it though. Taryn and I were on the pontoon yesterday with the four dogs, and I was laughing because I had found an old video of when we bought the house, and Andy, it was a mess. And I'm like laughing, like, Taryn, this has been so much work and so much money. And then I look at the dogs and I look at the memories and the family, and I'm like, wow, it's been worth it. And we had talked about going on vacation. And yesterday we said, you know what, though? We have kind of a like vacation home in the winter where you can go out, it's quiet. We have the vacation home in the summer. Yes, those things happen, but what's it worth to you? You know?
Yep. Yep, you're absolutely. So I've got a question, Kayla. I was reading, I was actually scrolling LinkedIn the other day,
Oh
and I was
boy.
looking around a little bit. And I don't scroll LinkedIn. I don't do much on LinkedIn. Again, I still need some LinkedIn lessons from you because I know that there are a lot of people that seek you out there, but I haven't fully embraced it. But it's on the list. Anyway, I saw this post. Um, talking about, and we've talked about it once before, but the 50-year mortgage. So
Oh
we
yeah.
talked about affordability being an issue. And so I saw this from Jack Ziegler, who's a financial planner, and was talking about the 50-year mortgage. And again, just, hey, I don't think the government should be involved. And economically, maybe a challenge for families, but would it be helpful in some ways and in some cases? He also put this together, and again, slightly
Mhm.
over graphic, but 21 versus 25, a $500,000 house, a 30-year mortgage at 3%. You've got a $2,100 payment, and you're paying 258,000 in interest. Now jumping ahead to 2025 at 7% over 50 years, your
Mhm.
payment's still higher, marginally higher, but look at the interest that you're paying.
And how he spells mortgage.
Right. Yeah, that could be a better graphic for sure. But I was
I guess
just scrolling,
so.
and it was kind of timely, especially as I've been having some different conversations with clients or potential clients or people that, boy, we really really want to get into a home, but
Yeah.
just don't see a path forward. So not to put you on the spot, but is there any merit to a product like this, or does it hurt more than it helps?
I think it again, back to what I always say, prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. For the irresponsible buyer who's saying, "I'll figure it out at some point." Probably not a great idea. For those that know that they're on a path, they're, maybe in school right now, or they're, in a job where they're going to progress and get more income, or daycare is going to end, or their child support's going to end, whatever it might be. I think there's just a different way to look at this. I truly think it's similar to the 32121 buy down. They're getting a lower rate to start with, and in the 50-year mortgage, I would say, well, cash flow might be increasing to start, just like the buy downs. I think that you have to be very real about the fact that at what point are you either going to start, holding yourself accountable to pay that down faster, so it's not a 50-year, maybe it's a 30-year, or you're going to refinance into a 30-year. I mean, Andy, I have people that they want to do a 15-year. And I say, well, I have one right now. It's a second home. The rates are similar. And I'm like, listen, the 30-year will allow you to have that flexibility and cash flow, but you just have to have that discipline to pay it down to a 15-year. Then do you have the discipline? So I think it just depends. I don't think we should shut off this option of or buy downs. I think every single person's different, but it's just another arrow in your quiver, another tool in your tool belt. Just it has to be for the right buyer, because Andy, I see people all the time that are at the top end of their ratios, and I'm like, if I don't finance this, someone across the street will, because it checks the box. But we really have to help people not just find a pre-approval letter and a house and an offer, but be set up after, like we've talked about. And this is an example of, okay, here's today, but where do you sit in 2 years? And how are you going to take care of this so it doesn't become $1 million you pay in interest?
Right.
So sorry, kind of soapboxy.
No, I think that was good, and I agree with it. I think there are probably two good use cases, and the one you already kind of hit on, just the cash flow piece. So for those
Mhm.
individuals that need more, they're looking at, hey, some changing life experiences, and kind of to your point of doing a 30 versus a 15, to have some optionality with how much you pay. You can always pay more, but in this case,
Mhm.
if you're worried about cash flow, or there's some unknowns in life. I mean, it could be a good short-term solution for an individual to get into a home, because home ownership is awesome, and it's a goal and a dream of most. I think the other group it could be good for, and Jack in his post talks about this, is for investors. Um,
Yes.
and most of the time they're having to go and get some type of a commercial loan, a 20-year amortization or something, if it could be amortized longer just from a cash flow standpoint, especially with some more challenging properties. Now, granted, again, this is an overgeneralized discussion in post because, again, he kind of starts talking about, implying a mortgage as if, maybe it's more residential, but, there are some commercial or investment implications. So I don't know what the solution is, but it was just an interesting, point of discussion. I thought I would revisit it with you, seeing
Yeah.
as you're working in it every day.
I would say too, it's kind of similar to adjustable rate mortgages. You're setting yourself up for this rate again, just kind of like the buy downs. I just think it depends on the person. And I do think that there are some people that, they're paying $3,000 for rent and we can't qualify them for 2,000, maybe, spreading it out, their debt to income ratios are lower. Is it the exact solution for everybody? No, but they might be able to get into a house quicker because spreading out the term allows their DTI to be lower, thus being pre-approved. So it could also be a tool to getting more people into homes, even if it's not the number one best option.
Mhm.
Also,
sure.
why not a 35 year? Why not a 40 year? Do we have to go to 50? Like,
Right.
I don't know. Just one out of 60.
Pick your term.
Yeah, I mean, I would say even just a 35 year could help people. I don't know where I wonder where the 50 came from. I don't know that.
I don't
So,
know either, other than it's, one of the next largest, jumps or
mhm,
whatever, right? Yeah, good question. But
mhm.
we'll
Yeah.
have to see kind of what transpires. So
Yeah.
you mentioned something just a little bit ago that, kind of caught my ear. So you were talking about someone potentially, doing some shopping at this point and, wanting to talk and, hey, what are your rates when, your rate, I mean, everything was better. But again, people not asking the right questions. And, again, there's a lot of doubt out there too. But also, somewhere along the line, this individual probably, again, had a conversation with someone else. Maybe it was this other lender, or maybe whatever. Someone else quoted them a great low rate, but obviously, somewhere along the line, they didn't get the education that they needed.
Yeah.
I often think of that too when we're working. And like at the open of our episode, you said that I sell homes or give tours or whatever, and we definitely don't do that. We're
Mhm.
looking for people that are serious. And I think an even more important facet of that is working with a great team. And we talk about that. And I'm not talking today, Kayla, about having your team of advisors, your attorney, your CPA, your lender, your real estate agent, whatever your arsenal of looks like for your team. But I'm talking about even within those specialties, working with a team. Obviously, you have a team, Kayla. I have a team. Talk about the importance of that from your angle.
I think there's multiple avenues to explore this. So yes, having a team. So who do you recommend for a home inspector? Who do you recommend for a financial advisor? I think having all of that is so important because every single part of buying a home means a bigger responsibility. It means, setting your family up for success. You're buying your biggest purchase ever. What happens if you pass away? Is it in a trust? Will it go into probate? I think that having a trusted group of people or someone that can refer you. I always ask my people, do you have a financial planner? Do you have an accountant? Because that helps set people up for success all around. But also, having a team of people around you to support you, whether you're gone or as part of the process. I think about right now, I'm on a podcast with you. If someone wanted to lock in their rate, if you're working with a lender that's a one-man show, you're gonna have to wait till they're done doing what they do. Whereas I have a team, so it's accessibility. It's, we really pride ourselves on communication and responsiveness because we know that this is a fast-paced environment. So in terms of kind of both views of that, Andy, I think, yes, you should surround yourself with great human beings, but also, you just talked about coaching up your team to be like you because let's be honest, when you're working with someone like a lender that's doing a loan a month and they're not really sure of certain pathways forward or ways that you can structure or communication, that makes it a lot harder on you and your client's experience as well. You know what I mean? I had a realtor that was newer, and of course, that helps me kind of work with them. But some people are choosing, I'm going to work with my friend who just became a realtor, but then things can get missed. Now they have to start somewhere, right? You have to get experience.
Yeah.
But it's so important that if you're working with someone that's not seasoned, they better have a mentor or a broker or a manager that's helping, because I also think that as part of the transaction as a whole, there's so many hands in the pot. One wrong move by the wrong person can completely kill a deal. So I kind of went on to all different, I guess, aspects of it, but it's just so important that you surround yourself with people that have the same mindset and standards, I would say.
Mhm. Right. Absolutely.
What are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
I would say the same thing, on the real estate agent side, and I always like to cite statistics from the National Association of Realtors. At
Yeah.
the end of July, they put some numbers out and said 84% of licensed agents out there had not closed a single transaction in 2026. And, again, we say that with the caveat that, hey, okay, there are some people that are licensed that are administrative staff, or, some people who they might work on a team and more business might be under, the main individual on the team. But as a whole, there are a lot of people out there that are licensed that are doing a lot of business. And again, we've talked about that in the past. That adds to expense. It's incompetence creates, wreck deals. It adds, things get missed. So we always say it, and like I look at my team, I've got 5 other licensed agents that work with me. Many of them are younger in their career, but
Mhm.
most all of them have some other very significant business experience, some real estate experience, managing people, extremely sharp and doing a great job, not only to represent our team, but also for their clients. And so that's what I really love to see. But yeah, you talk about people being sick, or hey, if there's something going on in a family or a vacation. Hey, I was talking to an agent that we're both friends with over the weekend. Hey, what are you up to? Oh, been out of town, and of course this week it's busy. It's incredibly busy the week that I leave, and don't have a lot of support. We don't
Mhm.
have that problem here on our team, and I think that's a huge benefit. I know you don't have that problem either. And so it's just really important to get a lot of people. It's for me, it's really fun because I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about making sure people are represented well, making sure they're getting good, competent care, making sure they're being kept up to date, and making sure that we're working really hard to actively market their properties. And I just don't see that. In fact, I see people getting lazier, agents, trying to do less, having to
Mhm.
carry the transaction a little bit more, even when it's not for my client. And it's
Mhm.
a little bit disheartening. But, usually it works out. Individuals that really are not putting in the effort, they're not going to be around very long. And especially going forward with more technology, um, I think it's going to be
Yeah.
a smaller playing field as far as agents, lenders, and the like.
And I just think that things happen so swiftly. I mean, you don't know what your day looks like sometimes. Then a lender tells you appraisal's in 10,000 short, or hey, someone wants to see the house today. I think there's just so much reaction. Like you have to be quick sometimes, just depending upon. But I also think that, when you approach this with competence and working with competent people, it makes such a difference. I've seen deals have hurdles because of title companies. I've seen deals because of insurance. So there's just so many people involved, and you usually don't know until it's kind of too late. Um, but again, it goes back to just having the right people around you matters. And again, I have to be careful what I say, because I'm like, hey, you have to start somewhere in this business, but
Mhm.
have a mentor. I'll have some realtors reach out and ask me questions, and I'm like, you should probably ask your broker that, because I'm not a realtor, but I can kind of tell you what I think as a lender. It's just so important. And it sounds like your team has that too. You can take a vacation, Andy, and know that your client is handled. Like that's how I think that that's the best way to give the best service.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's important. The team piece is really, really important. And, I found that out my first year in real estate. And after I had left the Remax broker I started with and
Mhm.
went to EXP, I was on an island down here. There were no
Yeah.
other EXP agents. And so I remember I was buying leads from Zillow and Realtor.com. Just, hey, I got to try all the things and look for business. And I did really well with them. But I was gone on and off for like 2.5 weeks of 1 month, and I just had to ignore the leads because like I couldn't serve
Mm,
them. I couldn't go show them a property, and I had nothing, and that was not a good feeling. And I never
no.
want to be sitting in that position again.
I also get feedback like, oh, well, okay, like devil's advocate a little bit. Some people are like, well, I want to work with Kayla or I want to work with Andy. Well, at some point, there's only so much time. And guess what? You are going to be sick or you are going to be at your children's, concert or take a vacation and you are not going to be accessible. And if you're accessible all the time, that's probably a problem. But at some point, you may have to work with other people on the team other than Kayla or Andy. And that's not a bad thing. And as I tell my clients, my loan partner is going to know your file as well as I do. This is where she shines. She's great at communication. This is where my other loan partner is excellent. But as long as everybody knows we're all on the same page and have standards, and this is the team, Team Andrew, this is what we do. I mean, when you go to the doctor, and I know I use this all the time, but the dentist doesn't come in and clean your teeth or do the x-rays, so I think that getting comfortable with the team effect, because I've heard some people say, well, they want to work with you. I'm like, they will, but I also have people that are part of Team Kayla, and that I think makes a difference too.
But here's the thing, Kayla, they don't want to work with you. Okay, so some people are arguably there for you, but they're there for the standard you represent, the level of competence, how you carry yourself, how you present yourself. And again, just hearing good feedback from other individuals. So really they're subconsciously, they're more for the standard, and the same thing like on our team. And so we have to be able to, field that and to be able to hand people off effectively. Not that they're not important, but there are some times where I'm just not going to be able to serve someone as well as I would like to, at which point, hey, I've got a great other agent that I'm going to have you work with.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think at some point I had coffee with a salesperson today in a different industry. And I'm like, your best and highest use is networking, prospecting, bringing in business relationships. Like your, right hand is the best at, follow up this. I mean, we all have our lanes. And if I'm trying to be everything to everyone, then I'm just not being used in the best way. And at some point, you don't do those things anymore, Andy. Like you might not do the admin stuff. And so you kind of even forget how to do it. It's like, this is where they shine. This is our level of standard. And the client many times wouldn't have even noticed whether it's you helping them or someone else. So you're right. It's about the standard.
Right on. Well, what a great discussion, Kayla, about teams and the importance of a good team, talking about life, rates, and everything else.
Everything else in between. I'm excited for next week. Or do you plan a busy weekend ahead?
I do. I've got a number of closings going on this week. Otherwise, kind of keeping things in the air, literally and figuratively. I've got to go do a little flying tomorrow, and just a kind of a variety of meetings. We have a Chamber of Commerce golf tournament that we're sponsoring a hold on, and then we've got a team playing as well. So, be kind of a longer day on Thursday, but it's a fun event, fun to see people, and just kind of relax a little bit, probably at the lake. How about you?
Amen. I'm hosting an event at my lake finally for women in business this week. I've been wanting to do it for some time. So naturally, I bought a lot of pool floaties, a lot of drinks and food and little party bags for those that can attend. So I've had this home for 5 years. Why not, hosting it, the women that I work with every day that I partner with. So that will be fun. And then, lake for sure this week. It should hopefully be another nice week. So we'll see.
Awesome. Well, I think that puts a wrap on today's episode. I'll look forward to hearing more about your Women in Business event, but otherwise have a great rest of the week.
I will if you will. Bye, Andy.
Hey!